Which is interesting because I'm in my mid-50s.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with my brother, and I was sort of saying, we were talking about the technology and how we've reached a point where we either are going to find it difficult to relearn more technology because we've gone through such a revolution every other year. But then we started to realise that that's not important. What is important is how we develop relationships with other people, how we have conversations, how we share with other people. And a lot of people I'm hearing now who are freelancers, who are self-employed, they're actually starting to say, I'm doing this activity, but I'm not sharing it with anybody else. I want to be in a group.
And this is where this comes in.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot wrong with the internet, we know that. But there is a plus too, isn't there? Because that's it. You can share globally.
Yes.
Intimate things. I mean, obviously, you know, that's abused also. But I get what you're saying, yeah.
There's a need to, I think it's people who need their voices to be heard in a way that is creating meaning. Yeah. And that's something, everybody has a story that has a meaning. Stories are about conflict. They're about, you know, how your life is turned upside down and you go on a journey to try and bring it back to that equilibrium. That's
probably a very,
And I think, but if we're isolated, we then become just inwardly connected. It's only once we get out
and this is why there's so many mental health problems with young people who only know the social media world.
Yes.
It's so important to connect and talk.
And yet the language, social media, isn't really. I suffer from looking at what I see on Facebook and kind of going, everybody seems to have a great life, and look at mine.
Well, I remember when this first happened, it's called FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
When I remember it was years and years ago in the Irish Times, an artist friend said to me, they started to do half a page of so-and-so was at this party, so-and-so was at that party. And my friend said to me, I thought I had a good life until I saw that on a Sunday morning. And that's the principle.
Yes.
And that is very bad for you.
Isn't it?
Because nobody's telling the truth anyway.
Yes.
They're just saying, you know, I'm in Portugal and it's sunny.
Yeah.
And not saying right now I've got a sore leg and I'm feeling miserable.
Absolutely. I know, it's crazy.
No one's doing it.
But that is what's... We tend to want to put a veneer on, don't we? It's that veneer of what our life is about.
But of course you don't share your innermost secrets with the public, do you?
Yeah.
You share them with the people you trust.
Yes.
And no, I do think it's handling that social media and understanding what it is. I mean, we all got a big shock with Facebook, but it's here to stay. And it can be a very positive tool. I mean, my guru lives in Tobago, and he has got people following him all over the world. And he uses social media, beautifully, absolutely beautiful. So, I mean, for instance, I put a photograph of this room one beautiful Sunday morning, and I've been chanting and I've been meditating. And I just stood by the kitchen, took a photo of it and said, chanting and meditating with Sri Vasudeva on this beautiful morning in Ireland, my home in Ireland. My guru replied and said, blessings Namali Ji, that's my name. He said, I can feel the sacred energy in that space, because he's energetic and this is energetic. And I thought, how wonderful that is.
Yeah.
And so I feel as though he's been here.
Yes.
Because I'm energetically tuned in. Now, not everyone would feel that, and that could probably sound a bit daft to a lot of your viewers, but I genuinely feel that.
No, I think there, through people I'm talking to, there is that kind of spirituality that they have. So I know
energetic awareness.
Energetic awareness. Another friend of mine is a medium.
Yeah.
Which sounds a bit strange from, because I'm coming from a Catholic perspective. But when we start talking...
Not really. The Catholic Church had exorcists. Anyway, carry on.
Well, no, but I think that becomes quite interesting. But he's constantly sort of... I see some of his videos, and I actually said to him, don't apologise. Don't apologise because you are being spiritual.
Exactly. You see, that's where India is. You were definitely directed here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, isn't it funny?
Well,
I find that so many times. I live in the Tyrone Guthrie Centre. I meet about 40 different artists a week.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many young ones and older ones of all ages come down to meditate with me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's interesting, because I'll start, so we've got a little question there kind of going in there. we were talking about the kind of spiritual journey that people have. And this week, for me particularly, I've had to prepare for an interview that I didn't get a job for. I've had to get marking done to make sure the students get through, and we're working late nights, trying to keep the videos going. And then I'm supposed to be writing a homily for the end of the week, for today in fact. And I wrote a few notes, but I didn't feel as I had time to do things. And I told my wife what I was going to do. She says, "Oh, that's brilliant, don't write anymore." I'm going to go, all right. So we're actually going to ad-lib. Not quite, but have a few notes. But that spiritual, coming here today, this is almost for me a way of kind of just unwinding me into what this weekend that we're about to have. So I think that becomes. And you were mentioning other artists that come down and their experiences they have with you. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, this is a centre for artists of all forms, and it's a retreat, and they all do their own work. And I meet 40 people a month. But I've noticed, I always end up meeting the spiritual ones, who would be 4 or 5% of them. It's not a main path. But whether they seek me or I seek them, it's an energetic connection. I'm always amazed at it. You know, maybe I say a few words and they pick it up. But if you're seeking, you seek and you find it.
Yeah.
You're guided. I mean, I really do think you're guided. And then when you have bad news, and you know, I have them, we all have them, it's such a help because you've got a framework to put it into.
I mean, one of the things I find that's quite interesting, and I think I mentioned this in a couple of other interviews, is that when, from a Christian perspective, when the two or more are gathered together, and they're talking normally about Jesus, or they're talking then they know that the Spirit's with them, they know Jesus is there. And in a sense, this is the same kind of. So even though we may be talking a slightly different language, that's our limitations in trying to understand what that's
There's an energetic connection happening.
Yeah.
And you can call it what you like.
Absolutely.
And whatever spiritual faith or religion they all have it. They all talk about it. It's just religion's got such a bad name, and justifiably so.
Yeah.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.